Hey guys, this is part 5 of the mine tour. Well, for a second I thought that there was like a drop there.
Wait, I've actually never been down here before.
Yeah, because we're going deeper.
This is a nice little hole over here.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's still Confederate gold in a number of caves.
It gets super fuzzy.
In fact,
Because of the dark, it adjusts to the dark, so it's fuzzy.
It's light here, huh?
That a number.
Well, for the camera, it's kind of dark, so.
Is there like a flash on it or something that you can turn on?
Well, it's in video, so. We're making YouTube videos.
Oh, I'll get to that in just a second. This is my plug for mine safety. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the extended part of the mine. This was constructed from about 1880 on, and it was only opened by us a couple years ago. You're actually one of the first 2,000 people to set foot in this mine part since it was originally constructed. So I got a question. What's this thing? I just pulled it out of the water. Oh, no. It's got a little bit of metal in it, but this is actually called miner's mud.
Miner's mud.
And if you guys want to pass it around, starting over here, just be gentle because it's super brittle. I'll get another piece that you can actually break if you want. Have a little one here.
Can I see it?
Yeah, we're going to pass it around. So you'll notice this stuff is pretty thin, and you'll secondarily notice that it looks very similar to the actual mud, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-oh, we run into a problem here. You guys remember those lenses that were out back that were basically
I found
shafts?
another piece.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's tons of it in here. So what will happen is that you have a shaft going down anywhere from 10 to 400 feet, sometimes a lot more than that. And if you leave the mine dormant for a while, this stuff will grow right over the top of it. So you're walking on ground like this that you think is solid, and it will go right out beneath your feet. If you're lucky, you're going to be taking a swim in 33-degree water. If you're not, you're going to be taking a dive down to the bottom of that shaft. So don't go into mines unless you know what you're doing. And that's my plug for mine safety.
Okay.
It's a lot of water over
Also,
here.
plunge.
So you folks will notice, like along the ceiling, there are parts where the wall's super dirty, and there are other parts where it looks a lot cleaner. That's part of the mine tour guide's job. We come in and inspect this every morning, and if there's, like right here, there's some loose rock that we think might fall on somebody's head, we knock it off. So when you folks get on up here, I'll give you a little geology spiel.
Looks neat.
Say what?
Looks really neat.
It is. This is called mica schist, and it is a metamorphic rock that formed from sedimentary that we think originally came from around 3 billion years ago. Interesting fact, if you guys came up from Denver, you actually passed the second oldest rock in the world. That's the cliff face that's right before the Twin Tunnels in Idaho Springs, and we're pretty sure that it's around 4 billion years old. The oldest, if you're interested, is in South Africa. Now, you guys have ever heard of fool's gold?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as well known, but this stuff is sometimes known as fool's silver. And you can kind of see why, because it looks dark and it looks shiny, very much like real silver ore. And also, most ores are pretty flaky. It's called gangue. And you can actually peel this stuff right off the wall, just like you would be able to real ore. Now, most of this tunnel is made of silver plume granite. But when you get farther into the heart of the mountain, like we're going through now, you're going to start seeing a lot more differentiation in the minerals. And that's very simply because it's had a lot more time to form and a lot more heat and pressure, just like you might think of as diamonds. And you'll also notice a little interesting thing. You guys know what obsidian is, right?
Yes.
So the way that forms is basically it's the same exact mineral composition as this stuff, same exact chemicals, but it cools real fast. And that's why it doesn't have any crystals. It looks like glass. This stuff took millions of years to cool, and that's why you have little grains of crystals in it. Diamonds, real nice ones, probably took hundreds of millions of years to cool in what's called a kimberlite tube. That's why the crystals are sometimes like this big if you're real lucky.
Yeah.
Now, also you guys have noticed there's a bunch of stuff in here like this wood sticking out of the wall. That's very simply because it's very hard to nail into hard rock like this, so they just drill the hole and stuck wood in instead. I've got a wood, oh, here we go. Did I cast it? Nope. So folks, this extension back here is still considered an archaeological site. And I'm actually going to show you part of what they do to come back here and investigate what was actually going on. Now, you'll recall I said this was drilled by hand. You can actually see some of those drill holes, and you can count them. You remember that every 10 hours, one shift, they'd be able to do about one. We have one shift, two shift, three shift, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 5 days it took to go from that drift right back there to where I'm standing right now. And that's sort of the stuff that they do. They're a lot better at it than I am, but I always like to point that out because it's obvious enough for me to know what's going on. Right here, you guys will notice that there's an iron thing sticking out of the wall. This is an excellent example of a miner that probably got fired later that day. What happens is you have a two-man drill team with hand steels. And let's say, what's your name?
Mason.
Mason? So Mason is going to be the guy holding the steel, and I would be the one who's hammering it from behind. Mason's job is to give that drill steel a shake and a twist every time I hit it, which would be about 60 to 80 times a minute, 10 hours a day. That's like this. I've tried, and I can get like 34 of those before I have to stop. These guys did it for their entire careers. 6 days a week, and then on Sunday they'd have someone else come in. So you see this thing stuck in the wall? This is what happens when Mason here doesn't do his job. He didn't shake that drill bit, and it basically turns into a big old nail, and that ain't doing anyone any good. So I'll give you a little more of a drilling demonstration once we get back there. Yeah, I think this is a lot. So, folks, we actually had a record of a gunfight occurring inside the mine. Doesn't sound like a very good idea, right? I don't know where this happened, but this brings us to the second thing. Back in the Wild Wild West, which it very much was in Georgetown, Colorado in the 1870s, they had a real hard time keeping accurate records. I was talking about that earlier, that air raise. This is another one. This tunnel, if you can kind of come up here and squinch in and see, my light doesn't even go close to as far back as this goes. We're pretty sure this extends to another mine called the Iris Tunnel, but we don't know.
How come you never went back there?
I've never been back there. Some of the other tour guides have. But primarily the reason why we can't take other people back here is because of this cave-in right here. And believe it or not, cave-in, most people you think of it filling the entire tunnel up here, right?
Yes.
You hear the word and you think Wile E. Coyote in a mine. Unfortunately, that's not entirely accurate. Fortunately enough for us, this is what cave-in looks like right here. It usually only fills it about halfway. It's very rare for it to go all the way up to the ceiling. And as you can see, we got about 3 feet clearance in there, which is why we can't take people back there, unfortunately. Yeah. But that's an excellent example of just the level of complexity of the mines back in the day. It was possible, and it most likely still is possible, to walk all the way from Silver Plume to Idaho Springs without ever seeing the light of day. In the say what?
That'd be a great tour.
That would be a great tour. It's kind of dangerous, but you know, hey.
Yay!
Driving your car is dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. So, the basic point of that is that in the Colorado Mineral Belt, which is about a 100-mile radius around here, we're pretty sure that there are at least several hundred miles of these tunnels. We're just going in about 1,200 feet. That should put it in perspective for you. It's pretty creepy. And folks will notice in this raise right above your head, there are some new planks of wood. We put those in there because there's some more of that mica schist up there, and it would keep falling on our heads. Unfortunately, this stuff is not gold. That's just pine resin. It will be amber
Does look
someday
like gold,
though.
huh?
Yeah, I get people ask me that every time.
Is that gold?
So, welcome to the Van Halen section of the tour. I don't know if you folks ever been to the Colorado Museum of Nature and Science, but sometimes you get minerals that will fluoresce like bright green or bright red under a black light. These still look pretty
Yeah.
cool, but they obviously didn't do that. Now,
That's in the video here.
you folks, when I take you back outside,
You're blue.
I'll show you some
Turn
old
it on.
gold mines on the other side of the
See you
mountain.
guys next
And they are
video.
characterized by